How do you get disclosure from an organization of your data? Subject access request is something which many people actually do not think about using. Hello, my name is Haresh Sood, Direct Access Barrister and filmmaker. In this session, I'm going to talk to you about how to write an effective data subject access request. How do you make an effective data subject access request? And this is the biggest thing I actually see clients doing wrong. My strong suggestion is go on the ICO's website. The Information Commissioner's Office website gives you very detailed guidance on how to make a data subject access request. At the same time, how to effectively ask for the information you need. Now, one of the biggest problems I see is a lot of people do not actually narrow down the request to a specific period or group of people. There's nothing wrong with that. I think sometimes more is good. However, the risk you run is if your subject access request does not actually give a narrow time frame or specify groups of people that you want data from within an organization, that can then lead into a lot of problems because they can then refuse it, or they can say to you, it's not narrow enough, we don't understand it. And that process just goes back and forth, and you can lose a few months. Obviously, you're going to face challenges where they may not just want to give you the data. So you may just be ignored, or you may not have a response given to you the way you want it. However, there are structured ways of writing a letter, and that is what this service is about. This service focuses on teaching you how to write a good subject access request letter, and to make sure it's so specific that there is no need for any of this bouncing back and forth. One thing you must remember also is the ICO's office is busy, and like every office in this country as we live in it now, there are backlogs. And if you do not get what you want from your data subject access request and complain to the ICO, you will then be stuck in a queue there as well. So try and narrow down what you ask for at the start. Be very careful of also just CCing in people when you make a data subject access request. Sometimes people make a request and just CC in other people. I'm not really quite sure why people do that. And I think they do that to show that there are other people involved. For example, they will CC in their lawyer. I don't think that's a good idea. I think you should just make a data subject access request and that is it. To always check if a fee needs to be paid, because some organizations may require an admin fee if you've asked for a very extensive data subject access request. The other thing about data subject access requests is that you need to make sure that the request is manageable for the other side, because what you don't want to do is then get a whole lot of documents which then you have to spend 6 months waiting for, but also then another 6 months going through. So try and be specific in what you want. The service that I offer with data subject access requests is for you to be able to ask for the most effective disclosure within your data that is held in an organization. And then the service that would follow on from that would be to understand if any of that can be used through one of the other packages that I offer. The benefit of a good subject access request is, if you get the data from the organization, that you will get information that could support your case. Sometimes there is internal correspondence which can really help a case. And it could be as simple as somebody telling the other person that we need to get rid of them, or we need to discipline them, or make sure their complaint doesn't go further. And sometimes people just forget that they wrote that in an email, and it just comes out in disclosure of the data access request. So they can be a really effective tool. I've seen this increasingly being used in employment law and also in other areas of law that I've covered. So it's something to bear in mind in lots of areas of law actually, not just employment law. However, as I said, keep it focused, keep it narrow, and make sure that you write this effectively. So if you need help on writing a data subject access request and an effective one, then this is the package you need to instruct me on.